Hagerty.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Secretary, it's great to see you again.
Good to see you too.
I really want to thank you and President Trump and all the men of the Border Patrol and ICE for the incredible amount of work that has gone on in a very short period of time to secure the border. It's made a huge difference in my home state. It's going to continue to make a difference, I'm certain. And I very much appreciate your efforts to bring these illegal aliens to justice as well. President Trump promised to deliver the most secure border in American history, and the two of you have delivered on that promise. Encounters at the southwest border are down 95%, and under the Trump administration, getaways are down 99%. Congratulations on that. The Trump administration has ended the crisis that the previous administration created at the southwest border, and you've done it, frankly, in a matter of weeks. My colleagues, and certainly President Biden, argued that we needed new legislation to address the situation at the southern border. I think what you've demonstrated is that was absolutely not the case. I'd like for you, if you would, Secretary Noem, to paint a picture for us. How was it your first day when you arrived at the agency? What sort of state of affairs did you walk into? I want the public to understand how poorly managed the situation was that you've taken on.
Well, Senator, thank you for the question. I would say that overwhelmingly it was a night and day difference as soon as President Trump was sworn into office, because immediately the message was sent out to everyone who worked in the Department of Homeland Security that we were now going to enforce the law in the United States of America, that we were going to be able to let people do their jobs, which had been so frustrating for so many of our CBP and ICE officers and those who partnered with them. They felt as though they had been facilitating an invasion of our country, and the fact they grew up in these communities. Many of these officers were raised in Del Rio and El Paso and Tucson, and they were, just devastated by what the change they had seen. So the fact that they got to do their jobs again was overwhelmingly, I believe, why this was a success in securing our border, knowing who comes into this country, and stopping those who shouldn't. President Trump, what I'm proud of is that he has removed 252 known terrorists from our country just since he's been in office. Thousands of criminals and illegal aliens that have perpetuated violence on our communities. And I think the employees and the officers that are a part of the Department of Homeland Security are proud to be a part of the solution that's making America very safe again.
Can I stay with the comment that you made, or a term that you used, invasion?
Yes.
Because what we saw over the prior 4 years was the largest invasion of our country that we've ever seen.
It was.
I don't think the American public understands this because it was obfuscated in the media. But could you just break down for us and explain to us how the Biden administration facilitated the invasion of over 10 million people illegally entering this country in 4 years?
Yeah, absolutely. Their lack of enforcement of our laws and their policies facilitated people being welcomed into our country, telegraphed around the world that come to America, the borders are open. When you get there, someone will give you asylum, you'll be protected, will give you housing and food and medical care, free medical care, billions of dollars spent by taxpayers to give them more advantages than what the average United States American citizen gets. That was very clearly telegraphed by their policies, and it devastated so many of our communities. I think most people also recognize that when you welcome people from around the world, you're going to get bad actors too. You're going to get cartel members taking advantage of the situation, terrorist organizations that are going to infiltrate our country, people who have been kicked out of their own countries for reasons that their country would not tolerate. They came here to find a safe haven, and Joe Biden gave them that opportunity. So, it is going to be a big job to clean up the mess that they created, but President Trump is determined to do so, and overwhelmingly, the American people support him in that. They are so thrilled to get these dangerous people off of their streets. When I've been out working with the frontline individuals in the Department of Homeland Security, with our officers, with those that are emergency responders, you can be in New York City, you can be in San Diego, you can be anywhere, and people that are walking their kids to school in the morning are walking by the operations going, thank you.
One last
point. Thank you for being here.
The situation in my home state, we're losing about 3,000 kids a year to fentanyl, to overdoses. We've got human trafficking happening from Memphis to Nashville and beyond. And I really want to know, I think the American people expect that this border will be secured, that we can get this stopped. But what resources do you need to make that happen that you don't have today?
Well, you've seen the request from President Trump in reconciliation and in his fiscal year budget. He is doing due diligence to make sure we have the resources that we need to really secure our border, but also to make sure that we are stopping this poison in our communities. It's giving us enforcement tools, more officers out there, more agreements. You've seen us implement 287G with local law enforcement officers and state law enforcement officers that will get us, compound our efforts out on the ground. Give us more individuals to clean up the mess. But we also need the technology at our ports to scan packages that come into this country. We've collected, I think, over $36 billion worth of tariffs against other countries because of what President Trump is doing to make sure that we're putting jobs back in the United States of America. But CBP is the ones that are collecting those tariffs, but they also need at our ports of entry scanning technology. So we know what's coming in packages, what's coming in by air freight, that we just haven't been doing due diligence under the Joe Biden administration to really know what the threats are and how those dangerous chemicals and poisons are coming in.
Thank you, Senator Hagerty. For the last round of questions, Senator Murphy.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, one of the accounts